This is Jonathan Kirsting hanging out with Comcast to bring you Summer of 50 Pittsburgh Tech Stories. I'm trying to tell the cool stories across Pittsburgh's technology ecosystem. And one of the biggest things going on out there right now is getting people back to work. It's really just treating people like people, whether people are coming or going. And at the end of the day, we need these skills in order to really just make sure that our employees are happy, that they're engaged. And today I'm talking to Vince Consoli from Promark. This guy has some serious HR chops. His experience goes way back, and I think he's gonna have a lot of great insight as to some best practices around getting people back to work and really just some of the new tools that are out there. And Promark has this really cool app that I'm excited to learn more about that's allowing people to stay connected if they've been furloughed, because so much of that is still going on right now. And so Vince, thanks for taking the time today to be part of our conversation. I think our viewers are gonna have a real treat talking to you today. You definitely keep the positive energy up, and I just love that about you.
Well, thanks for that. Although I think there was some kind of insult there with lots of chops. In other words, he's an old guy who's been around a long time. But yeah, that's about right, though.
I mean that with nothing but respect, because I think we need to rely on people that have been there and done that, because you've seen probably everything there's to be seen when it comes to all things HR. That's for sure.
Well, if I wrote a book, they would not put it in the, they would put it in the fiction section, thinking I was making it up.
Exactly.
But it would be true. Yeah.
Oh, goodness. That's crazy. That's crazy. So first off, give us the elevator pitch for Promark and tell us what was so exciting about you taking your experience in being part of Promark.
Well, Promark's been around for 52 years. They started in Cincinnati,
Okay.
But a good friend of mine and my CEO bought the company a year or so ago, and we brought it to Pittsburgh and other parts of Western Pennsylvania and West Virginia and still in Ohio. But Promark takes care of people.
Yeah.
Everything on the talent life cycle, from thinking about bringing them in to walking them out the door. So all the things that happen with people. In my 38 years of people experience,
Right.
some in operations management, some in executive management, executive HR mostly stuff, is just perfect for this, because we get an opportunity every day to help companies help their people. Which, by the way, and you're in the technology world. Technology has come a long way, and it's fabulous, but you still need people.
We need people, and people are tech companies' most important asset. So keeping them engaged, keeping them happy, keeping them involved is 100% a top priority. Simple as that.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure. Engaging folks is the one thing that we talk about a lot, but folks don't actually, they're not sure exactly how to do it. And now, with all the stuff that has happened around COVID-19, we have people everywhere. They're in the office, they're in the factory, they're in the facility, they're at home, they're working from the beach, some of them are furloughed, they're all over the place, and trying to keep track of where they are, but keep them engaged and connected gets to be difficult sometimes.
Yes, it does. So how do we do that? Come on, give us some stuff. Well, I know you have some solutions around that.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, you have to be motivated in order to do so. First, you have to believe that keeping your people engaged is an important thing, and then caring for them. Once you get to that, then it's just a matter of, where are they? What are they doing? How can we do it? Goofy things. We created a product. We had to do it. We couldn't find anything out there. When we started seeing lots of companies furlough people, and then we would ask, so are these people laid off? Are they ever coming back? And it's like, no, we want them back. Well, what are you doing to keep them engaged? And it was like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, what do I mean? They're gone. You just cut them off of their server. You cut them off of email. You cut them off of all conversation, and you're going to want them back in a couple of months. What have you done? And they said, well, we don't know. What can we do? So after about 6 or 7 conversations like that, we created a product. We call it Pro Navigator.
Right.
And also, and the secret version of it, Pro Vault. And it's designed as a product that keeps people engaged. It looks like like a LinkedIn or a Facebook posting wise, but it's loaded with so much information about being laid off, being furloughed, what to do with the government, how to get unemployment, all that kind of stuff.
All these resources there.
All the resources there, and a lot of education stuff. So while you're off, you might as well get some training, build up some skills, maybe get some certifications. but mostly it's about communicating with other people in the same situation as you, and a place where your company can, the CEO can do a vlog once a week, and they're right out there, and it's some place where they can go and just check it out. And it's designed as a voluntary program, so you don't mess with the working rules. Once they're laid off, you can't call, can't ask them a question, or you got to pay them for that day.
That totally seems to make so much sense, because as you mentioned before, they want to bring you back, and in that 2-month period of time, anything can happen. You can start losing that talent. They might find another job. They might just become disassociated and say, I don't want to hang out with that company anymore, because the more you think about it, maybe the more angry you get. But if you're able to talk to your fellow employees who've been also furloughed, and you're able to get messages from the company to kind of reassure them that this is what's happening and keeping them in the loop and everything.
I come from the old school. If I come from the old school, if you don't tell them something, they will make it up and then tell their friends. You know what I mean? So that's how rumors start. So, you have to control that conversation and keep them engaged. Let them know you're working as hard as you can to get things back to normal.
Right.
You've got new plans and processes and systems. When they come back, will be so that they're ready to go day one. And we're starting to see a lot of folks coming back now.
Great.
And
great to see that.
Yeah.
What's the feedback been like on the app? I'm assuming once you have this deployed, you probably got some happy customers, just knowing they got this easy to use platform that's allowing these conversations and connections to happen.
Yeah, well, so far so good. We have heard nothing but good things about it. They love the information there. It keeps them busy. There are good people out there. You hear stories. Well, I'm getting more money being laid off than I was at work, and I'm just going to goof off. Well, that's not true. There's a lot of people who are working hard, and they're improving their skills. They're doing something because they can do it here, and they have one place to go where they can do all these things. The companies love it. The participants love it. So far, so good. We're happy about it.
I love it. This is what I keep saying, that during this whole pandemic, crazy cool solutions are being developed to be helpful and to make things better. And that's just proof of it right there. How cool is that?
Yeah, well, and what we also discovered is after this is over and your people are back, this is a great communication tool for forever. It's one of those things where, you can actually put all of your training systems and processes and stuff on here and have people access it. We've seen that a couple of times. I love the companies. My favorite companies are the ones that have done they weren't allowed to work. So they decided, we're going to either lay off people, shutter the facility, or how about we retool and try something new that they need. And, and now they have another revenue stream for when this is all over. So I love that. I just love that.
Very, very cool. So Vince, tell us, how else are you working with your clients right now? Obviously, they're probably leaning on you really hard, because this has become like an HR fantasy land, for lack of a better term, with all the things that are going on. Like you said, people working from home, people working off facility, some people being furloughed. It just seems like there's all types of, every HR scenario seems to be happening at once, I guess, is what it seems like to me.
Yeah, our HR folks are pretty beat up out there. Their laws are changing, regulations are changing constantly. They're trying to keep up with that. They got CEOs that are breathing down their neck about the people, and and there's just so many things happening. We're trying to work with our clients to make sure they're prepared for what's coming next. The stuff that's going on right now, we can't do much about. What the government decides to do, what restrictions they decide to give us, we can't do much about that. But if we're not prepared for what's going to happen in the future, there was a talent war before this all started.
Exactly.
And now it's going to be even worse, because there's going to be a lot of people available at one time. There are more people available than usual, depending on how they were treated when they were furloughed or laid off, or even at work, or forced to go home, or forced to stay in. Whatever happened, there's going to be a lot of changes. I have a story. This kind of blew us away here, but a company we were aware of, manufacturing organization, decided they needed to furlough 50 people.
Wow.
Then as they were looking at it, they said, well, we think some of them will come back, but we're not sure if all of them are going to come back. So maybe we'll just do a layoff and call it a layoff. And then that way that, if we get them to come back, great. If not, okay.
Okay.
Well, in so doing, they decided that, well, everybody else is doing the same kind of stuff, so we're not going to bother doing any outplacement, or we're not going to help them in any way.
Oh,
So they let 50 people go,
wow.
kind of unceremoniously.
Wow.
The perp walked down the hallway, they're gone,
Oh my
and
God.
didn't realize that, the people that remained, the employees that were still there that they kept,
Yeah.
really were upset about how their colleagues were treated.
I can imagine. Right.
So much so that within 10 days, 19 other people quit.
Wow. Oh
So
my.
now they got another thing. And one fell swoop, one not paying attention to engaging with their people, they not only lost a good relationship they had with their employees, they damaged their reputation, and their brand. And now when it comes back to trying to recruit the hired people back in there,
Right.
they're going to have trouble.
Yeah, they're going to be too many steps behind at that point. Wow, that is
Exactly. Just because of one little thing, they weren't paying attention to what all of their people think.
absolutely. Switching gears just a little bit, have you had a lot of your clients ask you about how to set up really good working remote policies and best guidelines around that?
Yeah, we've had some of that, but right now a lot of folks have had some experience with remote workforce. It may be a tiny percentage, and they had to increase their percentage. The biggest issue we're seeing is those companies that did not, the management thereof. If you're used to management by walking around, and you're used to walking down the hallway and telling your subordinates you need to do this or do that, you can't do that anymore if they're home. So those kind of things have had to change. Meeting styles have had to change. Zoom and Teams and those kind of things have been great assets. But if you got a hardcore manager who's been around a long time, who's used to yelling and having somebody come to, those guys are struggling right now.
I would imagine so.
So yeah, we've had to do some retooling on people, have to do some coaching and some, to help these managers understand that they can still manage and do a good job, but they just don't, it can't be the same way that they're doing it now.
There can be a lot less.
So obviously, I'm sorry.
There can be a lot less yelling.
Well, my heritage is 100% Italian, so I gotta admit I'm one of those guys who like to yell down the hallway and hope somebody comes to run it. So
I would never guess that, Vince. I would never.
Yeah, that's my style. And even when I'm not yelling, people think I am. So
exactly. Oh, that's hilarious. So what else is going on? What else have you been seeing that's been popping up during these very unprecedented times?
Yeah, well, yeah, there's a lot happening. HR people, as I said, are kind of getting beat up. They're making up stuff as they go, and typically HR folks are not big fans of making up stuff as they go. We like policies and procedures and things in place just nicely.
Things that go into a binder, right? And
yeah, exactly. But we don't have much of a choice at this point in time because this is all new stuff.
Right.
So the one thing I have noticed, at least in the HR world, is they're getting together with each other. They're
support groups.
Seeking out people. Yeah, they're seeking out people like us who have been around for 30, 40 years, have been doing this stuff. And no, I've never had another pandemic in my time, but I've seen enough things that we can put together a great process for now. But whatever works. And by the way, one of the things that I think we miss a lot of is just general questioning. Ask. If you're not sure what your people are feeling, ask. And then, not try to assume, well, maybe they're upset about this. Maybe they don't like working from home. Maybe they don't. I always tell a story about my middle son. He comes from an organization there. They had to do, they wear a suit and tie every day to work. They like people in the office. They don't work from home. Well, he's had to work from home. Let me tell you, his results have doubled. He's done a great job, and I don't think he's worn pants for 2.5 months. You know what I'm saying? So he's been working from home with no pants, and he's doing a way better job. So all of a sudden now they're thinking, okay, maybe this isn't a bad idea. Maybe we ought to do this because productivity has improved greatly. But that's with some people.
They need a no pants policy at work there, give us productivity, right?
It's working like a charm for him. I mean, he's loving the no pants thing, but yeah,
absolutely.
Long as he keeps the screen, here, as long as he doesn't get up.
Exactly.
Oh, good. Yes, sir.
Good stuff, Vince. Good stuff, Vince. So every one of these podcasts and video casts that we do here with Comcast, I like to ask a question. It's a little just changing the gears a little bit, trying to pick people's brains as to how we can all start thinking about ways that we can kind of bridge the digital divide that we've been seeing that's just really increased, and we've really seen, or has come to notice since the whole COVID thing. It's really put a spotlight on the fact there's so many people that don't have access to technology in order to work from home or to learn from home and so forth. What are your thoughts on ways that we can make sure that we bring everybody along for the ride here and everyone has tech skills and they're all enabled?
Well, if you look online, of course, if you're not online, then you can't really look there. But if you look there are so many training things available to people who don't know. I mean, if you don't know how to do something and you can't go to YouTube or some other place, skills, one of those places that, then it's just insane. But as I was mentioning earlier, companies have to be committed to this kind of stuff. If a company is committed to make sure that all of their people are trained the way they need to, it's not going to be real difficult for them to do, because again, there's so much stuff out there. They don't have to build a new system because it's already there. Right. And, little things like, folks, I've seen people panic with Zoom, for example, because they don't have a computer that has a good camera and speaker system.
Right.
But they're walking around like this all day, every day on their smartphone. It's like, hey, you do know that Zoom has an app, and so do all the other ones where you can do this from your phone.
Exactly.
And I'm 60 some years old. You know what I'm saying? So if I know that, how is it that these other people don't? So, you don't need a ton of equipment to stay in there. You can do exactly that with that. But a company needs to be committed. If they're committed to their people and bringing everybody where they need to be, it's not going to be hard because they don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's already out there. There's a ton of education pieces out there, and they just have to be committed to doing it.
Very much so. Appreciate that insight, Vince. And so if people want to learn more about Promark, they want to talk with you and say, hey, I got some ideas. I need some help. What's the best way for people to reach out and get a hold of Vince Consoli here?
Yep, that's probably the easiest thing to do. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm available. But yeah, just talk to me. I'll put you in the right direction. If it's not me, it's somebody else. But being Italian, I know a guy. So you call me. I know a guy. I'll get you taken care of. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is you need. Yeah, we love to talk about those things. We'll talk with folks to see if it's best. All of our solutions are individual. They're specific for your organization. We have thousands of consultants and coaches available all over the world. It's a global organization. So we're prepared to help anybody anywhere. So
love it. Vince, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to talk to us here on our 50 Stories with Comcast. Just a fabulous conversation. You definitely, you amped my energy level today. I really appreciate that.
Good. Yeah, for an old fat guy, I got a lot of energy. There's no doubt about that.
You're doing just fine, Vince. You're doing just fine. Everybody, thanks for checking us out on this session of our 50 Stories. Can't thank Comcast enough for making this happen. This has been Jonathan Kirsting with the Pittsburgh Technology Council.